starting now. Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for being here. We're going to get started in a few minutes, but really quickly, I am Emily. I am the community manager and student advocate for Designlab, and I have Jamie here with me today. She's going to be our awesome presenter. Woo! Yeah, we love it.
Hi, everybody.
I'm trying to echo Jamie's amazing energy that she has all the time, but she has so much energy that kind of just cover it for both of us, really. But yeah, hi everyone. Thanks so much for being here. This is awesome. Yeah, say hello in the chat. Let us know where you're from. If you are part of Designlab, let us know. If you're not, if you're just checking us out, like either one, whatever. It's all good. Like we're so happy you're here. This is awesome. We have some pretty cool things to share towards the end of the presentation. It involves the word challenge, and it involves the word free, and it involves the word scholarship. So pretty cool. Yeah, hello. We have everyone from everywhere. We have Milan, Copenhagen.
Wow, awesome.
Wow. Jamie is so awesome. My favorite. Yes, I agree. 100%. We're from the UK. We have lots of Brooklyn. Yay. Oh, Johan's here. Thanks for the captions. Yeah. So yeah, we got feedback. We're really trying to make this accessible for everyone. So we are trying out this new web captioner. It's pretty cool so far. It looks like it's catching on to a lot of things that I'm saying. So yeah, we'll have this in the background. Hopefully, it'll come through on the recording. But if this works, then we'll try to move forward with this as we do more webinars. Hello. Yeah, say hello. Say hello in the chat for everyone who's just joining us. I'm Emily. I'm with Jamie. I'm from Designlab. Jamie's from Adobe. Jamie is going to be giving us an awesome presentation today. And then at the end, we have some really cool news to share with everyone. So hopefully everyone's able to stick around. Yeah, this is awesome. And then, so yeah, really quickly, so we're about 2:01. We'll get started in about 30 seconds to a minute. Yeah, if you have questions, toss them in the questions tab. And then if not, just if you want to just chat and say hello and all that fun stuff, so, keep that in the chat tab, mostly because I want to make sure that we are answering your questions from the questions tab. And then we do have some fun polls set up. One of them is related to a particular challenge we're going to speak of. So a little bit more insight to that later. Will this be recorded? Yes, Melissa, it will be recorded. And this will be uploaded to the Designlab YouTube channel. And you will also receive a link to it via email because you are here, I'm assuming, because you signed up, you registered for the event. So you will have both. You will have access via your email as well as the Designlab YouTube channel. Cool. Hello, welcome. All right. Jamie, are we ready?
I'm ready.
All right, everyone, I am going to hand it off to Jamie. So again, I am Emily. I am the community manager and student advocate for Designlab, specifically UX Academy. So if you are from UXA and you're here, hello, welcome, welcome. So happy to see you again. But yeah, I'm going to hand it off to Jamie, let her introduce herself, and then we will take it away.
Okay. Can everyone hear me all right? Okay, good.
Lots of yeses.
Like that's a lot of yeses popping up.
This is a lot of yeses.
Okay, let's get started.
Loud and clear. Perfect.
All right, so let's get started. We are here for XD for the win. And I have this fun animation that was created entirely XD to get us excited about today's session and how you can use XD at every phase of the UX process. Oops, so as Emily said, my name is Jamie Nussbach. I'm a strategic development manager at Adobe. I specifically work on XD and with all different types of ways people learn XD. So I'm out there teaching, helping with curriculum, and really supporting anyone who wants to learn about Adobe XD. So I'm really excited for today's session. So let's get started. And if you've ever had a session with me before at Designlab, then you know I like to start with the definition. So what is user experience to start with? Well, it's the process. What process? Let's pause for a second. Process. So think about that. It's a series of events that you go through in order to do something. So there's steps involved and maybe some, methods that you're using, right? It's a process that design teams, So teams is really important. We're not an island. No one's working alone. You may be home alone now, but we all have stakeholders and teammates, or if you're a student, maybe you're working on a team project. So it's a process that design teams use to create products. What are products? What do we mean by products? Well, that could be anything from a mobile app to a website to a game to whatever it might be that's a digital experience that you're working on. So it's the process design teams use to create products that provide meaningful and relevant experiences. Whoa, meaningful. That's an emotion. That's a feeling that people have. So when you're doing user experience, you're really tapping into how people feel. So you want them to be happy. You want your users to be happy, and you want to accommodate your target audience. So I love this example today where we're using the closed captions to help everyone be able to access this content. That's a feeling. It makes you feel good and also relevant. So you're making something, whatever it might be, that's relevant to your users. You're not going to make a website for dogs that has nothing but cats on it. That makes no sense. That's not relevant to the user. So that's a great definition from IXDA. The process design teams use to create products that provide meaningful and relevant experiences to users. Okay, so now we understand what the core is of user experience. So let's dig in a little deeper. So today we're talking about how XD can be used at each phase of the design process. So you'll see on this particular slide, there's an arrow here in the background. And I think this is a theme that you're going to hear throughout my presentation today. It's about refining and repeating. It isn't just a one-way path. You're going to be going around and revisiting these different steps at different phases to learn different things. So starting off though, at the very beginning, we really want to understand. That's step one. Understand the user's needs in context of what you're trying to make. Maybe you're going to go out there and evaluate some existing solutions, do some competitive research, see what's already in the market. And no matter what you're doing, the minute you get into a UX role, there are going to be business objectives. So there's going to be some sort of goal from the business. So if you're making an app for a hotel, the goal of the business might be to increase hotel room bookings. You know, if you're making a dog adoption app, the goal is going to be increase the number of dogs that get adopted into new homes. So we have to understand all of those things before we can really get started. The next step is to do a concept. So you want to brainstorm some solutions and ensure that it fits the market. You really want to validate your assumptions. So don't go in with a bias as to what you think. We want to make sure that we have research and data that supports what our assumptions are about these users who are going to want to adopt dogs or book hotel rooms. Then this is my favorite phase, of course, is the design phase. This is where we can really use the power of XD to create a prototype or a wireframe to have an interactive visualization of your idea. Could you imagine trying to do this and work with a developer and get feedback without having a prototype? How difficult would that be? There's lots of cases where businesses maybe go straight into development and realize they could have done a better job somewhere in the flow. And how does that help them? That costs them money and that costs time. So user experience is super important to the process for the business to save time, to validate, and to save money so that we're sure that we're making something that is usable and that the users want. And prototypes are a great way to test and validate and get that data that you need. And the last thing you want to do is to evaluate. So you want to put your product in front of users. There's tons of qualitative and quantitative research methods out there, which I won't go into today. If you want to learn more about those, sign up for Designlab's UX Academy. They'll go into all of that. But you want to evaluate what you've made and then refine it. Go back and make changes and repeat. So this is a great slide showing the importance of being able to refine and repeat. So this is an example of once you're into that prototyping process where you might have to go back to a low-fi fidelity prototype after you've gotten feedback from your high fidelity prototype from user testing. And you can see that this is a very much a circular process. So there's a lot of learning, changing throughout the process of UX. And this is, again, where the prototypes that you make in XD are so valuable to collecting that data and validating your assumptions. Okay, so before we get started, I do want to mention that XD is free. So be sure you go out and download this starter plan today because it's free to try, you guys. This is a great time to go ahead and install XD. And through October, there is a promotion that gives you unlimited shared links and collaborators. So give it a go. You do not have to buy Creative Cloud All apps to get XD. I always want to say that in my presentations because I think there's a lot of confusion about that. So give it a go, try it out. Hopefully you learned some stuff today that gets you excited to try it. Okay, so I'm going to start now and go ahead into my demo. So as you can see here, I have my XD file open with all of our presentation materials. And I want to show you some examples here of how you can make low, medium, and high fidelity prototypes in XD. So a low fidelity prototype is something that omits any visual design details and serves as a rough guide to allow designers to get a feel of how and where they should place content. So I have an example here in my file of a low fidelity prototype, and this is something that can be sketched out. So I sketched this and took pictures with my phone, and then I just loaded it into XD. And the benefit of that is that I can go ahead and prototype this together, even in the low-fi phase. Let me make this a little smaller. There we go. And you can see I have my artboard open in this really awesome preview window, which mimics the device you would see this actually on. And I can actually click now between these and get like a rough idea if I even like where I'm going with my drawing. So you can use XD for low fidelity. You can also use XD for a mid-fidelity wireframe, which is more commonly referred to as wireframe. So mid-fidelity prototype, basically a wireframe. It's a digitally structured version of your sketches that is semi-functional, but does not include any visuals or graphics. So let's take a look at what one of these looks like. So you see it's kind of grayed out, but it's better than the one that was lo-fi, that was just the drawing. So I'm going to go ahead and actually click on the button. I can actually pan back and forth here on the bottom. I have a little bit of functionality built in. I can uncheck supersonic and go with the standard delivery. Click the button, add a credit card. I'm kind of getting a good feel for how this would flow. Wireframes are a great point at the UX process to test. So before you invest in all of the graphics and the creative look and feel, you can make sure that the flow and the actual structure of the prototype and your digital product is good. So again, this is saving time in the long run from having to redesign everything. You can just have an undesigned wireframe and make sure that this flow works for your users. So this is part of that circular process where we refine and repeat. And then high fidelity. This is often confused for the real thing, as it should be, because you're going to get real life responses then from your users. You're going to get emotions. We talked about that in the definition. the feeling people get from using your product. That's going to be captured in the high fidelity phase. So here we have a high fidelity design where it's the same idea from above, just added graphics and colors and animations. So you can see there was a micro animation that happened when I loaded this. This makes it fun. Who doesn't want to do stuff that's fun? So I love that it loaded in. It makes me excited about what I'm going to see next. I'm going to click here. I have that same functionality for my wireframe where I'm scrolling through the different fruits and vegetable options. I've added some interactivity so I can actually add fruits and vegetables to my cart. I can change that supersonic to standard. And this is all made in XD, you guys. It feels very real. I'm choosing my delivery time. You know, I can add this card if I want to. I can see in my cart what I had selected and place my order. It kind of feels like I'm really going to get a delivery of fruits and vegetables, which is cool. And this is what we want to do in UX. So let's start here. So now that we've seen some examples with the research and concept phase. So we just saw some really cool examples of the UX process and all the different levels of prototyping within that process. Let's go back to the research and concept phase. How can we use XD for that? Well, you can. I know it's crazy to say, but like even in the research phase, you can use it. So I'm going to come over here to my bottom left corner to the plug icon, if you can see. Sorry if you can't see the captioning. I wanted to show the plug. When I click on that, I get a drawer where I have all these plugins installed. You might not have any yet. That's okay. I'm going to show you some cool ones today that you can add yourself. You simply click on the Discover Plugins Plus icon, and it will open up this amazing dialog with all of these curated plugins for you to check out by different categories, etc. You click search, and today the plugin we're going to start with that's going to help you at the beginning phases of your project is Whiteboard. Yes, just like the board that you would be drawing on in person, we have a plugin built by the Adobe International Design team that helps you whiteboard in XD. So let's go ahead, I have it already installed, and check it out and see what it's all about. So I'm going to click on Whiteboard, and I'm going to be able to have it open in my actual drawer here on my computer. And it comes with templates. So during that first phase where you're trying to understand and validate your data and do research to make sure that you're building something for the right audience, you might want to do a business model or a customer journey. Maybe you're going to do some card sorting or design thinking. You're going to identify some people's hopes and fears, maybe make a persona, all of things you would do normally to kind of make sure you're on the right track, you can do in XD. So I'm going to go ahead and add the persona and use cases. Okay, so it just adds it as an artboard here on the canvas, which is pretty cool. So I have my template for that. But, you know, I also might want to do some lo-fi work in my actual XD file. Rather than drawing with a pen and pencil, I want to draw in XD. So I have fun templates for drawing. I'm going to put this mobile app one in. It's going to drop it right in the canvas. Pretty cool. And we'll get back to that in just a second. And maybe also you're doing some sitemap building. Maybe you're redesigning an existing website, and you want to reevaluate the navigation in the actual sitemap. Well, we have templates for that too in Whiteboard. So I'm going to add my flowchart here. I'm going to turn off the scrolling. And as you keep going, you can even manage your team here. You can put a Kanban board on, a roadmap one. And if you're new to UX, there's amazing collaboration and sketching tips in here. And each of these artboards comes with this yellow box, which includes helpful information about how to use this template. So if you're doing this for the first time or you're still early in your career, Whiteboard is a great resource for how to incorporate the UX process into these templates. So I'm just going to move that over to the side since I don't need this for right now. And I'm going to go into my personas. And in Whiteboard, there's elements that I can add to this persona. So if I want to add maybe a happy face, I can drop that in and change the colors. I can add in different drawing elements. So here on the flow chart, let's go to the flow chart. I want to add another, oops, scrolling too fast for my own good. Another element to my flow chart, for example. So let's put this, a decision was made. I can even color that right here as well. So super helpful to be able to add those elements quickly by just one click in Whiteboard. But even cooler is the ability to sketch. So we had talked about lo-fi. So we should just toggle here to the draw and click start drawing. Now opens up a little interface where I can select the size of pen and the color, and I can start to lo-fi out my idea. Maybe there's some icons here for this dog adoption app and a button that says, get that pupper now, and some other stuff here. Let's text maybe. And once I've done that, I can hit done, and it saves it right onto my XD canvas as vector. So I can come in here and actually select these items, copy and paste them. I can even start to prototype them right here in XD. So pretty cool plugin, highly recommend, definitely helps you out in that research and concept phase. But what's even better than just doing this alone is doing this with your friends or your coworkers. So how do you do that in XD? Yes, you guys, we can collaborate in XD. First, you just need to make sure your file is saved as a cloud document. And you'll be able to know that by this cloud icon here next to the file name at the top. Once you've saved your file as a cloud document and you're on the most updated version of XD, you can add your buddies by clicking this Invite to Document button in the upper right corner. Once I do that, it's going to show me this interface. Now, pause, everybody, whoa, pump the brakes. Don't just start typing your friend's name in here. Don't do it. The first thing you need to do is hit this button that says Enable Co-Editing Beta. If you want to collaborate in real time, just like Google Docs or Figma, you have to click this button. So it's an opt-in process in XD to get there. So it's just going to save it. And now it says it's enabled. So I'm going to, maybe I want to invite Emily from Designlab, and she's going to come and, check out this document and work with me. And we're going to do some lo-fi. We're going to make a persona. We're going to make a flow chart all together. But that's really an important concept to understand, that you have to be able to enable co-editing beta. Okay, so we covered the first few phases of the UX process with Whiteboard and collaboration. Now we're going to talk about how you can design and prototype for this design and prototype part of the process. I have a couple features here I'm going to show you in XD. I wish I could show you them all, but unfortunately, there's just not enough time in the day. You're going to have to come back and check out Designlab or some future sessions with them to get all the scoop. So here I have my artboard, and I have a card for the different food products that I want to sell on my website. And in order to make like a product array or a menu of items, normally I would just copy and paste this and start dragging this around and just keep my fingers crossed that everything lines up really nice and the spacing is equal all around. Well, that's the old way of doing things, so forget it. I'm not going to do that. I want to do the new, faster way, which is repeat grid. You turn on repeat grid in the properties panel by clicking this 4 square icon, okay? What? Wait. Whoa. Oh my goodness. Did you see that? It's blue. And now when I click repeat grid, it's green with handlebars. So now I know it's on. Really easy to tell. And with those handlebars, I can drag out copies of that element I want duplicated and repeated on my design. It could be anything. So here I'm going to adjust the spacing all easily just in one you know, pink bar swoop. And now it's all spaced out the way I want it. That's really great. That's so easy. Wow, time saver. Except for it's too long for my artboard, no problem. You can just extend your artboard size to fit all the food types. It'll give you this dashed line, which is your viewport height. So that's the size of your actual device window screen, and you just have some content that goes beyond it and scrolls. That's all that means. Okay, but I'm not done with my repeat grid. I need to add some things to this, like pictures and text. So I'm going to go ahead, and this might get tricky with the closed captioning. So I'm going to explain what I'm going to do, and then I'm going to do it. I'm going to grab photos from my folder on my desktop and drag them into XD straight from my desktop. So here I go. Okay. Boom. All right, so as you guys saw, I was able to select a group of photos that I had pre-sized on my desktop and drag them into my file all at the same time. Just by making that first one blue, it flowed all those photos in for me. And what's great, XD is trying to size those as well. So I can double click and I can make the broccoli smaller. I can double click and make the kale larger. And now my array of fruits and vegetables looks pretty good, and it was very minimal effort on my side. So it's a great trick and tip for how to bring images into a repeat grid. But again, I'm not done. I need text. So I'm going to explain what I'm going to do, and then I'm going to show you quickly. I'm going to go to my desktop. I'm going to select a TXT file. Basically, you go to Word, you make a list, any text editor, save it as a TXT file, and this will work. So let me show you. Okay, so you guys just saw the magic happen. It was amazing. Now I have all the words here that coordinate with my fruits and vegetables just by dragging that file in the same way I did the pictures. And what's neat is that if I want to make a change to any of this, like maybe I want to put a shadow on this card, click into it, put a shadow on it. Now it's added the shadow to every instance of that card in my repeat grid. And if I want to override strawberry and maybe make it say strawberries, I can override that text too. So very cool feature. Definitely recommend you understand the premise of repeat grid and see all the different multiple ways you can use it. It's really fun. I've made menus. I've made filtered navigations. I've made so many things out of repeat grid that you don't think that you need it for. And all of a sudden you're like, oh, this is a job for repeat grid. So super fun feature. Okay, so I'm going to go now to, let's go to scroll groups and then I'll come back to stacks. So a fun feature in XD that we just launched pretty recently is scroll groups. So what does that mean? Basically, you have this series of small cards that you want to be able to go right and left with, just like you would on your phone in your prototype. So you want to be able to simulate that activity of swiping right and left with a scroll group. So I'm going to show you now. I have my group of fruits and vegetables selected. Now I'm going to go to my properties panel. This is hard to see, you guys, but there is a horizontal scroll button here right underneath your height and width values and above the fixed position. So I'm going to turn that on. And basically, XD is going to crop the space as it thinks you want it to be. You can adjust this, and we'll see that later, but just by that one click, I have now added interactivity to my prototype. So I go to my preview window, and now I can scroll back and forth on my prototype. And you can even prototype these berries, citrus, tropical, and greens to separate pages if you want to too, to make it even feel more realistic, which is a great goal to have at a certain point in the UX process where you want to get that super true to life feedback. So really easy, one click. I feel like a rock star. I feel like I am some sort of genius designer, but I'm not. I just use these built-in tools that XD makes me look so good. People, your friends are gonna be like, how did you do that? And you'll be like, I just clicked one button. It's amazing. Okay, let's be amazing again. So now we want to scroll vertically. So I want to have the ability to see what's in my cart without having a super, super long artboard. I don't know if you guys have ever been to the grocery store and that receipt keeps printing out and it's like this long and you're like, I don't need all that. So we don't want that to happen in our app either. So let's turn on scroll groups for vertical scrolling. We get the handlebars again, and now I'll show you how you can adjust that. So I don't want the apples to be cropped, but again, I don't want it to cover up the information at the bottom. So I think about 4 of these lines fits pretty good. So let's take a preview. Oh, I'm a pro. I've been doing this forever, you guys. Don't mind me. I look so good. I can now scroll through my cart and see everything that I'm going to be ordering. Really easy and fun. And where is this order going to go? Well, I'm in Phoenix, Arizona, so it's going to come to me in my house. Like I said, just by making this high fidelity prototype, I feel like I'm going to get these fruits and vegetables any day now. Doorbell is going to ring. So I have a map, and I want to be able to pan around this map, you know, to show where to go. Go down Chandler Boulevard, however long, until you find my house. And I'm going to do both horizontal and vertical this time. So I get my handlebars, and this is way too big for the space. So I'm just going to start to adjust the map. I kind of want it to be all inset and nice and clean. And I'm going to double click to get my map, and I'm going to center that little pin that's on the map of where supposedly my house is. Okay, on the best street, Phoenix, Arizona. Now let's preview this. When I put my cursor over, I can now pan around the image, you guys. I mean, this is making it feel like real life. It's so cool that you can do this. So how fun is that, that you're able to, with one click, create such engaging interactivity? All right, so that was scroll groups. Now I'm coming to another design feature, which I think you guys really need to know, and that is stacks. So what does stacks mean? Well, get ready. If you haven't designed anything for digital design lately, you're probably going to have information stacked up like so. You have some information here about quantity, you have a button, you have a description, you have storage information. I mean, who knows? Do tomatoes go in the fridge or don't they? I mean, it's a debate. Where do you put potatoes? In the pantry or in the refrigerator? This is important information. Okay, side note, back to stacks. So when you build a product, maybe you want to test out where this button placement is, and you need to be able to move it to different places within the order of your information to see which is the best placement to get folks to click and actually purchase this broccoli. Now, this is my favorite way to test. It's called A/B, sometimes C testing, where you have multiple versions of very similar things and you're isolating a component that you're going to see which performs the best. I love this one. I love data. Tell me which one's the best. All right, enough is enough. Let's group this together. And over here, you see this in the properties panel, stack, a checkbox. And I'm going to check it. And you can see that it's making the best guess for me as to what direction my stack is going in. So it's going up and down, so it's vertical, and that's correct. I'm going to come in here within my stack, click my button. Oops. Oh, I know what I did. Hold on one second. Before I group it, I need to turn on stacks for all of this. Hold on. Okay, so I want to turn on stacks for this one, this one, this one, and this one. And then I want to stack the whole thing, so then I'm going to turn on stacks for the entire group. Oh, and turn on stacks for that. And now I'm going to come and move this around. Holy manoli. Just the spacing. Move this button down. So maybe it's going to be at the bottom. Maybe you want all the information first before you decide if you want to buy this. Maybe you don't care. You're like, I want to get it in the cart as fast as possible. I know everything I need to know about broccoli. But now you can come and you can even adjust the spacing just like we did in a repeat grid. You can move these elements up and down and all around. That is a quick time saver. I love that you can do that super fast in XD. So those are some 3 design features that I think are really helpful for you guys to try. And I'm going to show you a couple plugins too, because as you're just getting started, maybe you're making mock-ups or it's something that isn't real yet, or even if it is real, these plugins really help you with your design process. So there's one called Quick Mockup. It's made by the same folks who made Whiteboard. So this is one way you can add things that are very common, like a button or a card, a circle button, icon, etc., to an actual artboard that you're making a wireframe on. Instead of drawing all of these things from scratch, you can go ahead and just add a drop down right onto your artboard. And then there are some customizations that you can add there too. This one's really fun. I think if you're doing some quick wireframing, you can also use these templates that they've provided. If you're just doing some quick wireframing, some exploring, Quick Mockup is a great plugin to try. Another one is called Wireframer with an R at the end, Wireframer. So we're gonna go ahead and get started here. What's great about this is instead of opening a separate document with a UI kit, I can just open Wireframer and search for different types of wireframes I might want to use. So if I'm doing a messaging app and I want a chat example, I can just go ahead and hit plus, and you can see it just added an actual editable template for me to use. So why reinvent the wheel at this point? We're not worried about visual, we're worried about structure. So you can come here and look for all different types of artboards that you can just immediately add to your prototype and start moving those components around to make your design. So another great plugin. This one I literally use on every project, guys. It's called Icons for the number 4 design. So you come here and it has a library of open source fonts. You can see them here from Awesome, Feather, Iconic, Map, Material, etc., that you can use the editable icons for. So if we need that map pin, this is exactly where I found it. I typed in the word map. I can type in what size I need it to be, and I can actually click on it and it will drop this right into my prototype for me to start designing with. It has everything. If you want the dog for a dog adoption app, you can type in dog and there's a dog little icon here. Love this one, highly recommend. It has the social media icons in there. It has a lot of a hamburger menu that you can use. There's tons and tons in there. And I use it all the time. And note, that is a hot dog icon. I mean, hello, how funny. Okay. Icons for design is another one for designing. That's really good. And then stock image. So we're going to go here to stock image. And what this does is it connects back to Adobe Stock. And it can drop in a placeholder image for you. So if you're, don't have the final images of what it would be for dogs, so let's search for dog. You can type it in there, or I had searched before. We just want some images of adoptable dogs. So let's scroll through and see that, oh my gosh, they're all so cute. Let's take them all home. Look at these big ones here. Oh, this one's cute. So I'm going to check that box. I have a shape on my artboard that's been highlighted, and I'm going to say apply. And it's going to go ahead and drop that image into that shape for me. And so I can use this low-res image to design with in my prototype. And I can always come back here and actually go to Adobe Stock and purchase this when I'm ready to. I love this plugin. I use it all the time. And then the last one is UI faces. So a lot of times we're making stuff for people, and we need pictures of people to make it feel like it's actually, maybe it's something for social media or a networking app. There's all these open source image resources in UI faces. You can even add filters, like if you want a female, how happy. Of course, when someone is happy, even their hair color. Maybe we'll get someone that looks like me. Let's try blonde. And you can even have it just apply randomly, somebody in this shape that we've defined. So I'm gonna hit apply randomly. And it's finding someone out in the interwebs, and boom, it just dropped a lady in there that I can now use to help make my prototype feel real to life without having to go dig on the internet or whatever to find pictures. So this is a great resource when you're designing. Okay, so let's get to it. We talked about a few things, right, guys? We talked about how to use XD for the, let's go back to this slide, research and concept phase using Whiteboard and co-editing. We talked about design, how to design your level of fidelity that you're going for your design. But now we want to prototype this together, because really that's where it starts to come to life. So let's scroll down here to the prototyping section and go for a few features in prototyping that are going to help make your design take to the next level. I mean, this is where you're able to click on buttons, have interactivity. So the first thing I want to show you is fixed position. What does that mean? Well, let's take a look at what I have so far. All my rest, why is my footer moving with my design? It's supposed to stick to the bottom here of my viewport of my device, my phone. Oops, let me make this smaller, but it's not. And that really bothers me, because that's not realistic, because in real life, it would stick down there. So how can we mimic that easily in XD? Well, let's do it together. Again, where you're going to feel like, wow, I'm so awesome. Mom, Dad, come look at what I just did. I don't know about you, but I get excited. I want to share what I'm doing. So I'm going to select my footer. We're going to come over to the layers, and you can see that my footer is at the top of my layers. So on my artboard, I have different elements that consist of that artboard. Every time I put something in there, it gets its own layer, or we group it together. So there's photos, there's the rectangle, there's like some featured recipes, and that's all in here. So the footer is at the top. Now that I want to fix it, I'm going to come to the properties panel, and underneath where we just did scroll groups, there is the fix position when scrolling checkbox. I'm going to check it. That is it. Now, let's preview the difference. Okay, so I have my recipe page. Oh, cool. Now, when you scroll, that thing is stuck to the bottom. How cool is that? And it took one click, you guys. As long as your layers are organized, you can do this. You can do this. That's not it. I'm not stopping there. I want to also create some visual interest in my design. So I'm going to come back to my layers and select this hero photo of the egg salad, which is at the bottom of my layers, right? So now, what do you guys predict is going to happen? If the footer is at the top and everything went under it, if the hero image is at the bottom, everything's going to go over the top of it. So I'm going to fix that too. And you can fix anything at any point in the layer order in XD, which is really nice. So let's see what that effect created. We're back into our preview screen of the device. Oh, does that look like parallax to you? Because it does to me. Wow, now that's how you create a wow moment for your users. If we're talking about emotional feedback, cool, right? You immediately think that's pretty cool. I want to keep scrolling. Goal achieved. All with one click, you guys. Just turn on fixed position. Great feature. Okay, so let's turn on the heat in the prototyping section of the presentation. Let's get hot in here with Auto-Animate. I am not an animator. It's okay. You don't have to be an animator either. It's hard work, timelines, uploading, exporting, all of that stuff that happens in these more complex programs, which yes, you can export to from XD, but you don't have to. Auto-Animate does so much for you. You, again, can't help but feel like a rock star. So let's learn a little bit about it right now. Basically, what happens is that XD is going to interpret the difference between your starting artboard and your ending artboard based on certain properties that you have changed. Okay, guys, it's that simple. It's going to seem like it's not simple, but it really is. My starting card, I have two designs. I have this top card and ending card. And then in my ending artboard, I have a smaller version of that exact same card and a larger version of this exact same card. Now, what's happening behind the scenes, if you want to know how XD is doing this, is that it's taking the name of the layer or the group that you have on your artboard and looking for that same name on your ending artboard. And when it recognizes that, that's card one, it looks and says, is there anything different about card one on the second artboard that I should take note of? And XD is like, yeah, it got smaller. Okay, let me interpret that difference for my user. So let's preview, let's go to prototype mode. And it's just as simple as clicking on prototype. We'll drag a wire, okay? The action's going to be tap. The transition type is Auto-Animate. The destination, it already knows. We can select different easing options and boom, it's there. And maybe we want to go back to where we were before so we can toggle in between. And XD is going to remember what we just set. So that's great. I don't have to select it all over again. So let's see how we just auto-animated it. Wow, that is so cool. And look how simple and easy that was. Just by selecting auto-animate in our prototype properties as our transition type or action, then wow, it just totally interpreted that for me. Let's go down to position. Let's do the same thing with position. We'll drag a wire from one artboard to another. And you can look at the difference, you guys. It's the same design, it's just been moved. So now we'll see that movement in action with auto-animate. Holy cow, did I just do this? Yes, I did, because I'm a rock star. And you can be a rock star too. You can do rotation. So let's connect these. And you know, it's remembering my preferences, tap, auto-animate, the easing in the time of that animation. So don't just set it again. Oh, but you know what? Look how fast that is. That doesn't look good, does it? Let's change that. It's so easy. I'm going to come over here and make it go slower by selecting a longer duration for that animation. So you can try these things. You can fine tune it. That looks much better. Still a little fast. You can keep coming over here. Maybe it's a full second. I love this. So you can get kind of creative here with how your animation goes. Wow, we're seeing the difference immediately. Immediately, I changed to preference in my properties panel, and right away, I'm seeing that happen before my eyes. And this looks the same, you guys. Let me go back to design mode. This is set at rotation 0. So I'm up here right where scroll groups were again, so if you can't see my mouse. And then this one's set to 360. And that's it. It looks like the same triangle, but it's actually been rotated. And that's the difference that's being interpreted for us with auto-animate. We can also create things that appear and disappear. So this is going to remember I set it to 1 second. I think that's a little too long for this type of transition, excuse me. So opacity, stuff is gonna, look, it's there. You see, I'm rolling over it. You can see that this card is still there. It's just turned to 0. Let's try it out. Ooh, that's cool. I love it. Fun, right? So this is how you make your prototypes really come to life. You can even take the points on this path here. So you see I have these points. All I did was move them a little bit. So I'm gonna maybe move this one, maybe it's like that. Okay, so we just changed the path. We're gonna go to prototype mode. We're gonna drag our wires. You see how easy it is to connect these artboards together. And we're gonna try that now. Wow, I love that. So if you're doing data visualization, this is a great tool to use to make that data come to life. Now, you are not stuck with just one of these properties. You can combine them. So here I am going to combine them here in this demonstration. And voila, what just happened, you guys? What 2 properties did I use? Opacity and position. You can see that it's still here. It's just down at the bottom. So it went from 0 to 100 and then moved up into position. So that's how you can create some really powerful and compelling micro interactions for your design. Okay, we got to move pretty quickly here. I've got a few more things to go through for today. I'll make sure we hit the time marker. The last prototyping feature I want to show you is something called overlay. Okay, so we have a hamburger menu, and this is going to be a common use case. We can select the artboard or elements within the artboard to prototype. So I want when I hit on the hamburger icon, I want this menu to drop down. So I have tap, but instead of auto-animate this time, we're going with overlay. It gives me this green overlay box that I can move, or if I select slide down as my animation, it'll pop it into the place where it thinks it should go. And that's right, I want it to slide down from the top. And that's it. We just prototyped an overlay. So let's preview that. Cool. And then I hit X and it just goes right back up. But you're like, Jamie, wait, we didn't do another wire from the X to close it. Well, that's because if you choose overlay as your selection for the transaction type, it automatically adds this wire here that takes you back to the previous artboard. You'll also notice that it gives you a transparent artboard. So this shadow I have on the bottom of my overlay actually goes right on top of my artwork. I can use this same overlay for more than one artboard. So I want it on my broccoli artboard too. And I'm going to get that same functionality right here on the broccoli artboard. So really fun way, again, to make your true to life prototypes. Okay, the last thing I want to show you is how to share your prototype to get to the evaluate phase. So let's go back up to this slide for reference. We're at the phase where we want to maybe user test. So we've done a wireframe, we've done a high fidelity, whatever it might be, and I'm ready to show this to users to get feedback. And I'm going to use that to refine my prototype, make changes, or do an analysis of what I have. So we need to be able to share that. And in XD, you can by going to share mode, just by going to the top here and clicking share. Now I'm going to zoom all the way out and you can see something's happening that I don't necessarily want to have happen. I might have multiple projects or flows within the same XD file, but I only want to share one of them right now, not all of them. So how can I isolate this high fidelity option and not the other options? Well, that's pretty easy. We have something called multiple flows. I'm going to come here and I'm going to zoom in so you can see this really close. There is a little home icon in the upper left of the artboard. When I select that, it gives me the option here to name a flow. So I'm going to call it high fidelity. Okay, so when I go back to share mode, now the only option that I have is the high fidelity option, which is great because that's what I want to share, is that one. But, you know, maybe I want to share this other mid-fidelity option. Well, that's okay. We can do another flow. I can hit this little home icon. I can name this mid-fidelity. And now I can actually choose which one I want to export in share mode. So I can toggle between which one I want to be able to share at that particular time. I can even use the drop down here to determine what I want to do. If I want to do a new link, which is what I'm going to do, or if I want to manage links I've already made for this high fidelity flow. So I'm going to do a new link. We have several options for you here. You can do design review, development, presentation, user testing, and custom, and determine who's going to see it. So let's go ahead and go here. I've already made the link for the sake of time. It's right here. You get a URL, and this is where you can actually have it open either at full screen. You can it's fully functional, just like it is in the prototype. Oh, my Wi-Fi is struggling right now with everything that I'm doing. So I can click on any of these things, and it will take me to where I want to go. So you can actually click through this way, and you can use this. You can open it up on a real device and actually engage with it, and then use this to get feedback. So a really powerful way to do that. And you can even share for development if you want to get more into that. This is a little preview of what that development link would look like. Okay, so last thing, really quick, couple user testing plugins I'm going to mention. I'm not going to show you how they work today, but we have usertesting.com. We have Useberry. We also have Userlytics, and we just launched with Maze. So another great way to get that feedback and validate your prototypes. So that's how you can use XD at every phase of your project and your UX process. And thank you so much for joining me. I'm ready to get Emily back up on the screen so we can talk about what's coming next with Designlab and Adobe XD.
Yay, do we want to do that before we tackle questions? We just have a few.
Oh yeah. Let's do a couple questions. Oops, sorry, a couple questions. If you think we have time, I'm totally down to stick around a little bit longer. We can do some questions.
Yep. And just answering this out loud, we are recording this, so this will be sent to everyone who has registered. You'll get a link in your email with the recording, but we're also uploading it to YouTube. So this will absolutely be recorded.
Awesome.
Thank you for asking. All right, cool. So some questions on here. We have, how do you take such good pictures? My pictures are always gray. I'm assuming we use stock photos.
Yeah, I would say the photos I'm using are stock photos. So Adobe Stock integrates with XD via that plugin I showed you, which will give you much better quality pictures. In photography, that's a whole thing. Depending on the type of camera you're using can impact the quality of your photos. But a lot of the time, when you're using mock-ups, maybe you're a student, stock photos are sufficient. When you're working for a brand, they're going to have their own photography for you to use. So if it's a personal project, highly recommend looking into the type of camera you're using to see if you can get better quality photos.
For sure. All right, next question from Laura says, hi, I'm just getting started with XD and I have the following question. When you have ready the website, app, or whatever framework ready to be created with code, how do you export to Dreamweaver, or how do you send this to programmers? Are there links that you could share?
Right. So the way that XD was created was to be a prototyping software, a prototyping platform. So it doesn't actually generate code. It's not going to be a live site per se. So there are definitely lots of ways that we've created for you to work with a developer who can make this into a real product. We have plugins like Fireblade that actually creates code. You can use Anima. Some of these are not free. It's a paid service, but you can use this and it will take your XD file and make it into an actual website. But there is a flow in share mode where you can, instead of design review, say for development. and it will generate a link for everything a developer will need in order to make your prototype into a real product. Tons of information on this out there. If you search for development in Adobe XD, you'll find tons of information on how to collaborate with developers with XD.
Sweet. We actually had a few questions around that, so perfect. We answered about 3 of them.
Great.
This one might be maybe a little bit more simple from Fernanda. Can you link vectors as smart objects from Illustrator to XD?
Well, that's a great question. XD is a vector tool, just like Illustrator. So all you have to do is copy and paste your vector design right into XD, and it'll work just like Illustrator. So this box, for example, is an actual vector object that can be changed and scaled and whatnot. So yeah, easy peasy, copy paste.
We like easy peasy for sure. All right, this one's from Eric. Do repeat grids and scroll groups snap to alignments with other elements?
Oh yeah, we have smart alignments here. So if I come onto this, they're on by default. So you'll see XD is trying to line this stuff up for me with other elements on my artboard. You can also drag guides by coming over here to the side of your artboard, and you'll see my icon has changed. And I can actually drag guides on here too if I want to. If I want some things in some consistent placings throughout, I can copy and paste these guides by coming up here to view guides, copy guides, and I can paste these guides onto other artboards. And let's not forget the importance of a grid. So in design mode, I can turn on a grid structure that can either be square or layout grid. And you can set up a grid that is consistent throughout your design so that you're able to make sure everything's aligned nicely.
We love pixel pushing.
Yeah.
For sure. All right. Someone is asked, so Kenneth is asking, is there a way to follow along with this XD file? Basically, is there a way you can provide the link to this file or a sample file that they can work with?
Yeah, go to the website letsxd.com, and if you go to the getting started part of that site, there's awesome files there you can download and follow along with Danny Beaumont from XD as she takes you through from beginning to end how to use XD. I cannot recommend that series enough for beginners. It's awesome, and she has some great files that you guys can use and follow along with her.
Awesome. Roberta, you are asking for a list of plugins. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to include that list in the YouTube video description. So when I upload it to YouTube, I'm going to include it in the description. So you'll have all your plugins there. Cool. Just wanted to confirm, does Adobe Stock come with Adobe XD individual plan or Creative Cloud? Great webinar, by the way.
Adobe Stock is a separate subscription that you would have to purchase to get the high-res images. You can download placeholder or low-res images that would probably have a watermark on them. But if you want to get high-res access, you would have to sign up for a plan.
Gotcha. All right. So from Ashley, in your high fidelity, when you click for the amount or quantity of the fruits and vegetables, did you use horizontal scrolling to do that, or what did you use to be able to increase the numbers?
Oh, this is a little bit more complicated. So let me just turn off layout grid. That is a feature called component states. So I'll click on one so you can see what's happening here. In my properties panel, you can see that I have a different state for 1, 2, 3, and 4, and I prototyped those together to make an interactive element. It's the same way I made the check boxes. So I'm going to find the component here. You'll have a selected and deselected state. So definitely it's too much to talk about today to go through components and states, but check that out on Let's XD. Again, component states is what it's called, and it's a super powerful feature in XD that allows you to make these interactive elements.
Awesome. And then for the sake of time, we're going to take this last question from the questions tab, and then we'll end with all the fun stuff that we're going to announce. So this one's from Jessica. Do you think XD will introduce a way to crop images without having to mask them with a shape?
There's a few ways to crop images. You can use these operations up here in the corner. So let me find maybe that dog picture. Let's see, let's try a couple. Dog, here he is, okay. So you can do a couple things. You can draw the circle over the top of this dog. And you have two objects, the image and the shape that you want it to be in. You can go to Object, Mask Within Shape. Okay, that's one way to do it. Or you can come over here to these operations next to Repeat Grid, and I can select that as well, and that's another way to crop it within the shape. But if you want this to be a circle, let me see if there's one other thing. You'd probably have to edit that in Photoshop to be a circle. Wonder if it's path. That's what I was looking for. Convert to path. Yeah, now that's a circle. And if you click, oh no, you're gonna have to crop it in Photoshop. It can only really mask in XD. So if you want this to be a permanent circle shape, you would just open this, you can right click, and you can say edit in Photoshop, and you can actually make that a circle and then resave it back down into your file.
Awesome.
All right.
Sweet. Do we want to tell them the fun stuff now?
Yes, let me get my browser open to the cool things. So if you liked what you heard today and you want to get your career started in UX, well, XD and Designlab have collaborated on a UX XD 7-day email course. So you might have seen these for other tools on Designlab. Well, coming soon, very, very soon, you can sign up for a free 7-day email course in XD where you can learn and follow along. So whoever had that question about following along, Emily, that's the perfect time. So you come back, stay tuned to Designlab, and you can sign up and actually learn XD in 7 days on Designlab.
That's super fun. Super fun, especially if you're looking to explore a new tool and you're a Figma or Sketch user. Really, across the three, like the interfaces are they're so similar. So the learning curve from one to another is to me, I personally think it's not that big. And if anything, Adobe has everything kind of baked in, so it's kind of cool.
Yeah, I can't show you it yet because it's coming soon, but I just wanted to make that announcement here and get everybody excited about it. But it doesn't stop there. We're not just doing 7-day email course, Emily. Of course, we gotta make this a big bang here. And we're also launching a design challenge. So if you sign up for the 7-day email course, you can then enter the XD Design Challenge with Designlab, and the theme is going to be space travel, the future of UX, your future. What does that look like? You take the 7-day course, you can design a little prototype and enter to win a scholarship to the UX Academy, a free year of Creative Cloud, and a ton of swag. And you'll also be featured in an event where you're going to get live feedback from UX experts. It's so fun. I hope everybody signs up and gives it a go.
I think Designlab may have sent an email about it today. If not, it's coming soon, but there is a link to sign up for that event. It's really cool. Like, this is the first that we're doing with Adobe. Hopefully we're going to do more in the future, but yeah, so here's the nice page. Since we're showing it, we may as well just throw the link in the chat just to get everyone excited. There, send the link. It's in there. It's there.
Yeah, sign up. So, Emily, this is the mega event of the century. Okay,
you see the century, everyone, the century
of the universe, if you will. So we've got the outer space planets here that you saw in my presentation today. And if you joined us today, you have, for the challenge, I just walked you through how to make your challenge. I walked you through the UX process and how you can use XD from beginning to end to make your challenge entry. How cool is that? So definitely you have an advantage. But you don't even have to be entered in the challenge to benefit from this amazing event. We're going to have a kickoff where we talk about all things UX. We'll introduce our experts. We're going to have breakout sessions with portfolio reviews. I'm going to be hosting tips and tricks in XD. You can talk to industry experts from companies like Google, Vox, Chegg, I know Alaskan Airlines, TJX companies. They're all going to be hosting breakout sessions. You can network with other folks in the UX industry. So if you're a student, you're looking for a job, if you just want to expand your network, join us for this amazing event where you're going to be able to participate for this incredible, immersive online experience. And then you'll also find out who's the winner of this amazing scholarship and the XD challenge at the end. So I don't see why you guys wouldn't want to come. I think you need to tell all your friends, everybody sign up, enter the challenge, take the 7-day course. It's going to be coming out so soon. Stay tuned to Designlab, follow Designlab on social media. Stay tuned, sign up for emails from Designlab and get the information about this incredible opportunity and collaboration with Adobe XD.
Yep, echoing what Jamie said, this will absolutely be announced when that 7-day email course launches. It will be announced on Instagram. I'm the one who posts all of those fun things. So absolutely go and check it out. Give us a follow because we're trying to increase our presence there. So yeah, support us, give us a thumbs up, all that fun stuff. But yeah, I'm so excited. I'm really excited. Like I remember when Adobe XD launched and I just started using Sketch and I was like, we'll just wait. I'm just learning something new. But I mean, all the comments in here echo exactly what I feel like. This is just so much where I want to go and like dive deeper into Adobe XD and really see like what it can do. It really seems like it can just kind of do everything. Pretty cool. Yeah. Yeah.
And this challenge is for beginners. You don't have to be an expert UX designer. I want to reiterate that it's just about your creative thinking and trying and putting in the effort. It doesn't have to be like the most groundbreaking thing in the world. It's about your thought process. It's about being creative. It's about having hustle. It's about giving it a go. So the challenge is, let me just open up the page, about space travel, reaching for the stars. And that says a lot about the type of folks that we want to give the scholarship to. Those people who want to go out, try something new, learn something new, and give it a go. So what would you design? What kind of product would you make for space travel? We want to see your ideas. Get cool, get creative, try things out, use your imagination. You do not need to be an expert UX designer to do this. This is for beginners. It's for people who want to give it a go. Those that want to try out the UX Academy and attend and go to that awesome program and use XD for your program as well. So don't be intimidated. We just want you to come and have fun, enter, and see if you can win some awesome prizes.
I will throw out, if you are in Designlab Career Services and you're looking for an extra project to add to your portfolio, this could also, you can take this an extra step further and actually make this into a portfolio project.
Yeah, it's a great opportunity to use XD and have an example of an XD project in your portfolio. Use Whiteboard to show your process and your case study. Use those wireframing templates. You can have a really awesome portfolio project out of this as well. So use this challenge and use it for your benefit. And hopefully we'll see the results at your project maybe at the finale on September 24th.
Awesome. Yay.
Awesome.
Everyone's so excited, and it seems like a lot of people have already signed up. So we're ready for a big event in a few weeks. This is great.
All right, we'll see you there. Everybody sign up. I will be there, so you can see me again. You can join one of my breakout sessions, get more awesome tips and tricks, or hey, there's gonna be so many cool breakouts that I don't even know if anyone's gonna come to mine. So there's gonna be so much awesome content.
I think yours is gonna be maxed out. Everyone's gonna go to yours, basically.
Okay, yeah. I hope I get to see you guys there.
All right, cool. So we're wrapping up. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here. This was awesome. Jamie's energy always it gives me so much life, especially at this time of day. I have like, the lull where I need to drink like a gallon of coffee. So happy that I got to see you again. But yeah, thank you again, everyone, for being here. I'm throwing one last time the YouTube link and our Designlab Instagram handle in the chat box. So yeah, subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Instagram, all of that fun stuff. And yeah, let us know if there's other things that you want Jamie to explore in terms of XD. Like, we're always looking for suggestions on topics that you would like us to present on. So you're basically going to help us drive that. So let us know, send us a message, and we'll see what we can do. Awesome. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Happy Wednesday. Thanks, Jamie. We'll talk soon.
Bye.
Bye.